Right now, we're back. We're gonna do a 30-minute part two to the Alaa, the Ziyad and Alaa political prisoner interview. We had the mothers earlier. We're continuing on, like I said, on a 30-minute a part two. We have Siraj Davis along with the mother of Ziyad Yagi. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in a couple of other issues. Sister Leila and Brother Siraj, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Okay. So today's interview with you, Sister Leila, and the mother of Allah Hamid and his wife was great. We want to continue just to bring up some other topics also. I want to give Brother Siraj a chance to introduce and say hello. Hello, brother.
Hello.
He's with us via Jordan. I want to continue in bringing the story of Ziyad Yagi because the fact is and the truth is that we don't have enough people who are actually, if they are listening, are not really are not taking account to what is going on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give Sister Leila the opening here on what is it again, Sister Leila, that you need, that people are not, that the public is not giving you.
I need support. I need people to write the president. I need these laws to be changed. The only way these laws can be changed if the public themselves write letters and petitions to the government and to their mayors and their senators and so forth. This is the only way that these laws are going to be changed. Once these laws are going to be changed, then they go up to the government and then he signs it. The president signs the petition or the law, and then this is the way it would change. But other than that, mayors and nothing is going to happen. Their senators are just going to stay the way they so are, forth, and this is the only people are going to be hurt and affected. I mean, our lives have been interrupted severely. I mean, I am basically, I would say, immobile. I don't, do anything productive in my life because I am so hurt because of what's happening to my son. I'm basically sedentary. If these laws go into effect and they change and then, they take these innocent people out of jail, and it's not just my son. There's many, many other people like my son. There's the Duca case. I forgot what they call him. And Tariq Muhanna and Muhammad Noor and so many, many other people who are going through this or going through the same thing that I'm going through. They're unjustly incarcerated. These people are innocent. They haven't done anything. And there hasn't been any evidence against these people to show that they did something. Actually, they are only charged with that sometime in the future they might do something, or they're basically prosecuted because of their thoughts or their ideology or so on. And this is wrong. This is inhumane. And we're living in the United States, and our forefathers had fought to have, our Constitution written, our rights to be given to us as whether we believe in one religion or another. We have the right to worship whatever God we feel like worshiping without being prosecuted. And this was this is that this stuff has happened to us just because we were Muslim people. The only reason that my son is in jail is because he's a Muslim person, because he did not do anything wrong. He has not committed any crime. So therefore, I don't understand why we are being persecuted. I mean, why am I suffering? Why is my son suffering? Why is he in solitary confinement in a dark cell as the size of your bathroom for doing nothing, basically nothing? And why am I supposed to be suffering every day and tortured because my son is in that situation, because I'm his mom, and if my son is suffering, therefore I'm suffering. So this insanity has to stop. It just has to stop. There's no reason for this to continue and go on even one more day.
You're correct. Um, what also needs to be brought up is as far as since 9/11, I mean, this changed and created a an issue within the United States that is, similar to racism. I mean, racism in the United States existed anyway. It has for a long time. I mean, no, there's no joke about that, or no, disinformation or wrongness about saying that. But what 9/11 has also started, which we're going to start bringing up, is the fact that it has caused an Islamophobia, another portion or another way of a sort of racism, but with religion, which is something kind of new as far, I mean, religion, people who disagree with one's religion in the United States has been there, yes, but not as strong, like, putting it onto a form of racism like it is now since then, and it's getting worse because nobody's speaking them out about it publicly enough, because it's, this is they turned something into a 9/11. It was a group of men, okay, associated with, something that doesn't even have to do with Muslims. They just happen to be Muslim. And now we have Muslims all over the world who are continuously labeled terrorists, whether they are or they are not, because of a government that went further than just saying this group, you know, this group is what did wrong in the United States, and we hold them held accountable, and they brought up the fact that they were their religious background. Does it really matter? You know what I'm saying? That's the way I think. Brother, what are your thoughts?
On Islamophobia, right?
Yes.
Well, it's definitely conquered the minds of Americans and Europeans. It's prevalent in the thoughts of the media. It's taking control of every charlatan that wants to be a future politician, and every Nimrod with a low intellectual level has jumped up and down and danced the dance of "Here comes the terrorists." It's disgusting. It's something that I've seen in history. I'm glad I studied history because I could see it repeated again and be able to recognize it. So mass paranoia, it's ultimately destroys and challenges the principles of any country or any society. And a lot of innocent people do get hurt in the process, unfortunately. And we haven't learned from history, so like George Santayana says, we're doomed to repeat it. And, I
It's
don't know. It's really sad. These cases and cases. After my own experience, I'm seeing more and more of these cases, and I'm seeing similarities. Seeing similarities with the people that are accused. Similarities on the use of evidence and also the accusations. It's just like a broken record. I'm seeing it being played over and over again.
Yes, and it's exhausting the patience of, if, how can I say this? If anger has not already been, established to divide people, to be discriminatory between each other as far as the religion aspect of it goes, it's starting to create it because you have more people. I mean, any human being, no matter who you are or what you are, if you're grouped together, this is a religion. So if you see, it's more than just an injury or people getting hurt. It's people losing their lives over this, innocent people losing their lives over this. And nobody seems to want to wake up about it, and nobody seems want to talk about it, and nobody seems to want to stand up and do anything about it. And I will even go as far as saying some Muslims also, organizations or whatever, you have to stand up and say, hey, how many times can you say one is right or one is wrong? I've said it before and I'll keep on saying it. Right is right and wrong is wrong. There's no in between. You just have to acknowledge both of them, you know. Um, if there's not anger there, it creates an anger, you know. So we're in a domino effect. This country starts it, so now this country's going to start it. Now this country's going to start it. In my own personal feeling, I feel, the United States throughout the world, not everybody, not all people, but most people think of this country to be a leader of democracy, freedom, liberty, and for rights. So they hold and look at this country to and listen to this country or whatever they say. If our government starts going around and saying, "Oh, all Muslim," or even portraying that, or even giving the thought for another person to go on and say, "Oh, all Muslims because of 9/11, you have to watch every Muslim in the world now." Now, that's not fair. That is not fair at all. Not for what our country is supposed to stand for. Because in our court system, supposedly you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Well, it has turned into now, especially with seeing, Ziyad's case, and many other people's case in the United States that has nothing to do with terrorism, is that they're charged, sentenced, and then later on shown to be innocent. You know, so Americans don't stand up and say that this kind of stuff for the world to know. You know what I'm saying? The average person, say overseas or in the UK or whatever, people, they don't know any of this. They don't know the bad things about the US. It's just like any other country. The government doesn't want the public to know, the bad things, just the good things or the portrayed good things that they've brainwashed people to think is good. Am I correct?
Yes.
So there's so many. And Siraj, you work with a lot of people also, you know, who come to you and say, I've just been victimized, and now I'm a victim of Islamophobia. Here is what happened. An actual show, including myself as being a victim, it showed you, look at what this person said to me. And it's over and beyond. It's to the point to where somebody could really be affected mentally and to the point it's physical because of these kind of comments and threats that you get. Can you talk to us a
Well,
little bit about
the
that?
similarities about Ziyad's case. What struck me initially was when Sister Layla said that the FBI, she had the impression that they were trying to basically play the role of handler and snitch. They wanted Brother Ziyad to be a snitch, to strengthen and augment and buttress their case, and he refused. He did the noble thing. He did the honorable thing, and so they reprimanded him. And the same thing happened to me.
It's craziness, and I can just imagine how many more people, men and women out there, that have gone through this or are going through this that can't even speak out about it. You know what I'm saying? Or are afraid
Well,
that.
the intelligence agencies, what they did after 9/11 was immediately went to the domestic area neighborhoods and mosques, masjids of the Muslims. And of course, they went to the universities too, which was a program that is kind of controversial. We don't want the FBI scouting the universities, but it happened. And they approached very influential people within the universities and the academic communities, just as they did in masjids, and they tried to determine if they were a harmful or malignant and mendacious terrorist that could possibly blow him or herself up, or if they could tap this individual for information. Not all handlers punish their targets, but occasionally we have some assholes, and the, I don't know if they do it to punish us because we didn't cooperate with them, and they want to say, well, if we know that you're doing something wrong, so we're going to punish you. I really think it's because of hate. I think in the beginning they hated Islam and they hated Muslims and they couldn't get to the people that did 9/11, so they reached out to the next closest thing, which is a human reaction. When we can't defeat, I don't know how females are, but I know us males. When we're angry at our father after he's whipped our tails, not all handlers, punish with a stick or something or paddled us, and we want to beat our fathers back, but it's impossible. Our fathers are much stronger, and they're more dominant, and they feed us. So sometimes the brother may even say, our little brother may say something we might take offense to, and we slap our brother or take our anger out on the weaker object. And I think that's what many of the handlers and people in the intelligence community did. They were angry at Al-Qaeda, so they reached out to the domestic communities, and they were determined to get these people that did 9/11, and if we can't get them, we'll get the next best thing, a Muslim. And so when Ziyad Yagi refused to cooperate with Agent Manella's team, uh, what they did was they decided to punish him. Just like they did to me and my ex-wife. If you say yes, you've got money. You've got a new house. You've got an immunity from overstaying your visa. You have immunity from past felonies for armed robbery. You even have $200,000 in your pocket. But when you say no, you're made an example out of, so that the rest of the Muslim community can see this is what happens when you don't cooperate with us. So you better know something, and if you don't, you need to make it up. That's America in 9/11 now. It's a country that I was not taught to believe could ever become what's become now.
Well said, brother. MashaAllah.
And I have a lot of ghosts in my past, and I'm going to bring them out before I die. One way or the other. And I did a lot of bad things in my past too. And I'm going to bring it out one way or the other. And when I bring it out, I'm not going to be a nice guy. I'm going to mention the exact names, and I'm going to mention the exact court documents. And on my soul, in front of God, put me in hell if I'm lying. There's going to be two individuals that's going to catch a lot of shit when somebody digs up transcripts and finds out what was said in a courtroom a long time ago.
And there you go. Sister Layla, you have
So I've got my ace cards in my pocket. I'm not stupid, and I am not that that crazy to put my life on the line and do some of the things that I do without knowing ahead of time what I need to do. And that's my defensive mechanism. That's my protection.
exactly. Sister Layla, you want to follow up on what Brother Siraj has said, or
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, for instance, my son was only 19 years old when he went overseas, and I keep on saying this over and over again. And I raised him as a normal American kid, not any different than any normal American kid that was brought up in the United States. And he went over there to learn Arabic and to learn, and to get married and learn more about our religion. And of course, he has grandparents who are there and a grandmother who he wanted to also meet before she dies because he heard that she was sick. I don't understand what is wrong with somebody to go back to their father's home and their grandparents' home and try to visit for a couple of months. He had a two-way ticket. He came back and resumed his normal life. And when the FBI followed him for 2 years or 2 years and a half, they did not find anything on him, nothing abnormal. He was just a normal American kid going about his ways, was trying to get into college, and all these colleges have called me after they arrested my son and were asking for his name. We're asking for him to speak to because he was, applying to different colleges. And now his life has been interrupted. He's been in jail since he was 21 years old. This is a long time for somebody who did not do anything. And this is crazy. The way they came to him in our apartment complex, they drew guns on him. He was in the pool. He had cleaned up the kitchen for me, was trying to cook dinner for me, had marinated the chicken, put it in the fridge. And after that, he went to take a break, swim. They came, they drew his gun. A whole SWAT team drew their guns on a young man and took him to jail, kept him pre-trial in solitary, trying to get him to take a plea deal of 5 to 10 years or something in that context, so he can also, say something. In the plea deal, you have to actually say something that is a lie against other people in the group, his co-defendants. And since my son said no, he's not going to lie, and he does not know what they want from him, and so forth and so on, he was probably one of the most people who was tortured in the group, and he is one of the people who got the most or the highest sentence in the group too. So
How
all of
many times?
that, people should try to understand and wake up and see that these are lies, and that, they are trying to gain or get some evidence that does not exist. That's why they're trying to get these kids or young men against each other. And my son did not even know some of the people that they said that he was conspiring with to that extent.
That's craziness. I mean, it really is, because you think about it, and correct me if I'm not mistaken, or correct me if I'm mistaken, that Ziyad wasn't even, as far as my understanding is, Ziyad wasn't even a main, one that they were thinking was going to do something. He got 31 years for association because he met, somebody that they really did think was doing this, or was going to do something to the United States, or was a terrorist. And he gets the most prison time out of any of them. How many were there?
There
That
were seven. There were seven people, and I think honestly, even the ringleader, the one they called the ringleader, Daniel Boyd, I don't think he was trying to do anything against the government. I think he was just some guy who spoke a lot, and he has his rights to speak against whatever he thinks is wrong. And because he is a white American and he is a Muslim and his voice was being heard, they wanted to shut him up. So let's put that aside. Okay, my son barely knew the guy, but they thought, okay, the FBI, after they put my son in jail, he came. Two of the guys came. I forgot their names. One was, I think, was called Detective. One of them actually was Detective Powell. They called him Detective Powell. They both came after they arrested my son, like a day or two. They came to my house, and I said to the guy, "Why are you doing this to us? What is it that you want from us?" And he said specifically to me that he feels that my son knows something about this guy, Daniel Boyd, and if he puts him in jail and pressures him enough, then my son will speak out and say something. And I told him over and over again that my son does not know anything, and if he does know something, he would say something. So it's basically more, they were targeting this Daniel Boyd because he's a Native American speaker, he's white, and his voice was being heard. They don't like that, okay, because he was speaking against the government, against what they're doing overseas, against what they're doing in Iraq, and by now, I mean Syria, but at that time it was just Iraq and Afghanistan. And they did not like him speaking out, so they wanted to hush him very quick. But
You
on
know,
top of
how
that,
many times?
they needed they needed some evidence against this guy. They needed more evidence. So the only way they can do that is by making these people lie against each other and testify against each other. And once they testify against each other, they would say, "Oh, here we have something against him."
mm,
No, but even when Daniel Boyd testified and his son, they both said that Ziyad Yagi had nothing to do with any conspiracy.
Yes, that's true because he had nothing to do with anything. And the FBI even followed me while they're
Yeah,
following
but
my son. They also followed me for 2 years, and
I
they did
think it's
not say
important
anything.
to say the two state witnesses stated your son had nothing to do with any conspiracy.
And also, I would like to add on to the fact that, okay, can, and I know the answer, but I want either one of you to answer this. Daniel Boyd got how many years? What was his sentence?
Honestly, I think it was up to 18 years, but I'm not sure exactly. But and the thing was, the deal was for his kids who were incarcerated with him. The one got for 4 or 5 years, and the other one probably got 6 years. And they serve, I think, 85% of their time. So I think one of them is out by now. And I assume right now they work for the government. I assume that because that's what I heard. So probably one of his sons are already out, as far as I know, or is about to be released.
Okay. So I am going to go here and I'm going to bring up the racial discrimination thing. We got, somebody who was supposedly supposed to be the ringleader, who is a Caucasian white man. And there is no discrimination here, is because myself, I'm multicultural. But I'm going to say it because, some people will think this. Um, we have a white man who they thought would, went against the government and said whatever, and now we have a young Arabic man who is doing everybody's time. Re- that basically, you know, he got sentenced. Ziyad got sentenced to 31 years for the listeners out there. For our viewers out there, Ziyad got 31 years. Okay, and we have a ringleader that he wasn't even, who was the main person that the government was after, and his kids who are white, who get way less sentencing, court sentencing, who were the main people that the government was after in the first place. Ziyad, being Arabic, gets 31 years for being associated because he might do something. This is bullshit. And if Americans, especially Americans, don't speak out about this, don't be anything but white, because this may be you or your family someday.
It's also Palestinian because when they arrested my ex-wife, I mean, the attorney for the federal government, he reminded me. He said this has nothing to do with the fact that your wife is Palestinian. Not one single article by any newspaper mentioned the fact she was Palestinian, and that thought stuck with me, and to this day it does.
Exactly. So which goes, it's not just Palestinian, but in the United States, still goes back to a racial thing. I mean, people can
Well,
say, oh,
Palestinian is race
right, right. But in the United States, it would be what? Arabic. And it's grown to that. Any kind of
under that
anybody who,
classification, yeah.
right, anybody who looks like a Arabic. I'm Mexican. I'm half white and half Mexican. Okay, which what the United States government would call me.
I know what you're saying. I'm
Okay,
half white too,
yep,
yeah. But what's right is right and wrong is wrong. Sorry.
exactly. And so, to bring up these things, they've turned that not only into a well-known problem in the United States that we have with racial discrimination. Now they've put that also with a religion, to where Christians and Muslims, not Christians and Buddhists, or Christians and some other off the wall religion that the world keeps on coming up with. It's directly with Christians and Muslims. Now, why would the United States government start a religious kind of discrimination war tactic, and I will put it exactly like that, war tactic, to divide people, you know? And I've said it before and I will say it again. The fact is, I love my country, but this is the truth. Has there been wars and things with religion in the Middle East? It's been there for thousands of years. The United States is only 200 and something years old. Do we really want to start that kind of hatred and divide within the United States when you don't even know how, we can put the war on drugs, we can put the war on everything. Up, wait a minute. And I'm going to let it go through. Can you all hear it?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I have the call for prayer going on my computer right now. I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to stop it.
Oh, I cannot hear it.
it. You can't hear it, but everybody else will. I am Muslim and my call of prayer is going and it will stay going until it finishes. I'll just give a few minutes.
Huh.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. That was my call for prayer. That was my fault. As far as everybody having to hear it. Okay. All right. As it continue, I'm very sorry for that. I didn't mean to go off track. Um, we've been. Where were we? Can one of you get me to where we were at?
Um, I just have a comment to say that we are letting a handful of greedy people take control of our nation. This money that's been poured onto the FBI, which I've heard is about $1 billion. Okay, two quotation marks, a terrorist is just a lie. And this money that's been poured into the FBI so they can go out there and concoct their own story and catch this fake terrorist so they could get paid on the expense of human beings being tortured, families being ripped apart. Okay, this is wrong. This greed has got into people's lives and people's careers, and that's what makes them go and do these heinous crimes and acts against humanity. If we stop this greed and just remember one thing, that all of us eventually are going to die, and we're not going to take this money or our career with us in grave, and that we're going to face a higher judge, which is God. What are we going to say to God when he asks us, why did you do this onto an innocent human being? When Jason Kilhoffer becomes bones in the ground, okay, what has taken with him when he dies? What did he take with him except his actions? And of all these greedy people, just remember one thing, one fact: put death is something that we all have to face sometime in our life. Okay? So what did he accomplish from putting my son in jail? What did he accomplish from concocting these lies and these stories against my son and all these people, the FBI, who go out there and try to catch a fake terrorist just because they want their money and to further their career? What do they accomplish? This money should be used on education. It should be used on, the country's crisis, what we're going through right now. the country's in deficit. That's where this money should go to. It should not be going to the FBI who are trying to make up a terrorist.
Mm. Brother, you want to follow up with that, or you have something?
No, it's just Annie, she's got to fight. Sister Layla's got to fight ahead of her. We'll support her. Annie, the facts speak for themselves. I just wish we could get all the facts out without interruptions from the internet. But Annie, I could say that there was no evidence against her son. I mean, the whole plot is just ridiculous. I mean, they're supposed to set up a base in Kosovo, destroy Western governments, help the Taliban to win in Afghanistan, go to Jerusalem, kill all the Jewish in Jerusalem, attack the Quantico military base, Quantico, Virginia. And it's just so ridiculous. The Expendables, the movie, The Expendables with Sylvester Stallone, none of those. Are you serious? They couldn't even accomplish that. It's comical, and it's so unbelievable, incredulous. It's got a little bit of the Expendables plotline in the Minority Report. There's
Uh,
no action committed, but we know it's gonna happen. So by us arresting these individuals, we've prevented it. Oh, bullshit.
yeah.
That's a bunch of bullcrap. And that short little tiny frigate midget zealous Christian, either which way, his name's Jason Kelhoff, or either which way, he's making more Muslims. That's all he's doing. So he
Mm.
can go to the grave, become bones, do whatever. I could find his grave and probably defecate on it. That's how I feel. Forgive me, God. But he's just a tiny little man. And he's put away innocent people. I've read his work. The intellectual capacity is the equivalent of a donkey on drugs. He's an idiot. He's one of the Bush pundits that came out of the old generation, and some wise people need to put him in his place and get him out of his position. I mean, the guy graduates from college and says, before he becomes a prosecuting attorney against the war on terrorism, I'm going to make Jesus and Christ's life a part of my daily duties in fighting and combating terrorism. That is ridiculous. How could any no, not a Neanderthal. Let's go lower on the hominoid sequence. How could any Australopithecines minded idiot put this guy in charge of terrorism cases when one of the fundamental differences between Islam and Christianity, a source of contention, is the opinions on Jesus, whether he was the Son of God or whether he was just a prophet and messenger. And after him saying his job will be inspired by Jesus to put him in charge prosecuting Islamic terrorists, that just goes to show you the stupidity of wasted education in the fat bellies and not in the skulls of these southern hillbilly Armani suit wearing idiots. Yani, and it's just I'm so sick of that southern culture. I grew up in it. I know those people. In Georgia, we've got Wasta. In the South, they've got the good old boy system.
Mm.
And she's fighting against that too. I wouldn't doubt if her attorney was probably gambling buddies with the judge or played golf with them. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. I've seen it with my own eyes. That's the society down there. I mean, the plot line is ridiculous. This masjid in Zarqa is supposedly a terrorist recruitment center. I visited it, took video of it. I continue to visit it when I have time off. There's no terrorists there. Every Jordanian laughs at the freaking idea that Masjid Shishan, the Chechen mosque here, could have been a terrorist recruitment center or even a place where you can meet other terrorists, being that it's right across the street from a government building, down the street from a police building, and 5 blocks away from the General Jordanian Intelligence Building. I mean, come on. And how many times do you hear Muslims say good brothers when they refer to each other? That's not code for terrorist. And sometimes I go to the beach. In fact, some idiot passed a fatwa declaring women should be killed for going to the beach nude or something. I
Right.
mean, come on. Going to the beach doesn't mean terrorism, you idiot. I mean, are you really freaking that stupid? Has U.S. government and the leaders within the halls of government, the omnipotent and honorable ones, become so stupid that I'd rather put a tie and an Armani suit on a donkey and put that sucker right on the damn seat of Congress and have more faith and confidence security that our government will be run better. I mean, come on. I mean, ordering pizza, going to the beach. Where did this guy Evan Coleman come from? I mean, this guy, you just got to look at him. You got to say this guy's a real, you know, I don't know where you could get this guy from to
You,
even say that ice cream and ordering pizza and getting married, all these code words mean terrorism. That's a bunch of bullshit.
and
That's
if that was the case, every person who ordered a pizza would be in prison for 31 years. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a hell of a lot of people who say, "Hey, I gotta hang up with you. I'm getting ready to go order a pizza." You know what I'm saying? On the
and then and
telephone.
then and then he's supposedly brother Ziyad supposedly supposed to commit terrorism in Jerusalem. So he travels there in Jordan in 2006. I guess he travels there once. I mean, he goes to Jerusalem. And Sister Layla, how many trips did he take? Two trips, correct?
The first trip he went to Jordan, and then the second trip he tried to go to Jerusalem, but he was denied entry. He was denied entry over there, and then he went back to
See what
Jordan
I
from
mean? I
there.
mean, you've got the Israeli government working. You got the Israeli government working with the U.S. government. The Israelis are passing information. They see Palestinian. They say Muslim. They say potential terrorist. Oh, let's feed them information. Reject them at the border. Tell the U.S. that he's a potential terrorist. The U.S. goes crazy. They're on this little Don Quixote, red, white, and blue kind of mission to find a terrorist. So they're going out there trying to find one. It's just ridiculous. For what? For him trying to visit his homeland, the land of his heritage. I'm frankly scared to go to Jerusalem. I had plans to go to Israel myself, Palestine myself, but those plans are scratched after what they did to Ziyad Yagi. There's no way in hell I'm going to. And that's sad. I want to go to the capital of the monotheistic religions because I love all three of them. I love all three of them, and I'm scared, and I'm terrified, and I'm not the only one. We
And
can't go to that capital because we're afraid who's going to be labeled a terrorist when we return back home. Be
right.
slapped in handcuffs because we accidentally ordered chocolate ice cream, which means we're going to blow up a bomb in Africa instead of the Middle East.
Yeah.
What if we say yellow ice cream, yellow vanilla? What yellow ice cream? Does that mean a bomb in Indonesia or East China? This is ridiculous. I
Right.
wouldn't doubt if that's what they're thinking. And they got code words talking about he's going to do that. Not a single shred of evidence. 750 hours of recording. He's on none of them. Two state witnesses come forth and testify that he's part of no conspiracy. But what does the prosecution do? Say, well, Daniel Boyd, do you think that he may have this ideology? Does he agree with you that it's right to use violence to defend your land? And Daniel Boyd says yes. I don't understand how defending your land, if it's being attacked, has anything to do with the intent to commit terrorism. I think it's a human nature thing for every human across this world to want to defend their home or defend their country or to defend their identity or whatever they're attached to. And Ziyad Yagi didn't even say that. He didn't even say, I'm going to the Middle East to defend Islam. I'm going to the Middle East to fight. No, he didn't say any of that. Daniel Boyd, in order to get a plea bargain, stretched the truth and said, I think they understood me when I said that. I think. And that's all they needed to prosecute these gentlemen. That I think they shared this terrorist ideology with me. That's what Daniel Boyd said. That's what convicted those gentlemen. Not the evidence, because Daniel Boyd said, I think they understood what I meant when I said you should go to the Middle East and defend your religion at all costs.
Right. And
That's what sealed the fate for all of those defendants. That stupid, insignificant, circumstantial bullcrap.
it's
And
just
even during the testimony, Daniel Boyd himself kept using the word benign. He kept saying in the courtroom, we were having talks. I've talked with many people, but they were benign talks. What he meant by that is it's a bunch of loudmouth people. He's a loudmouth person, has more bravado and machismo than actual common sense. He's just speaking out of his mind. He's not intending to do anything.
This is just crazy. It's crazy.
It's all crap. It's all crap. And the only way I can see to resolve this is to publish another article, which seems doesn't help much, but to actual put the page numbers of the transcript so people can actually look it up themselves and see what I see. So they can say, damn, this is a case of injustice. This is wrong. These guys, especially Mohammed Omar Hassan Ali and Ziyad Yagi, they are the most innocent of these gentlemen. They were put in jail because of their friendships and because of their opinions. I mean, Jesus, you had the prosecution. One of the other evidence brought against Ziyad Yagi was some rap line talking about he was making a line. I think it was like I want to be like Biggie. If I have to smoke a Jew like a ciggy. That's nothing. Are you serious? Have you heard Tupac Shakur's Hit 'Em Up video when he came out? He said, that's why I F'd your bitch. I'm going to kill every one of you. Mob Deep, you have one of you has a disease. All of you will die. And what happened? They actually died. Did you see any of them get arrested? You see Mano get on the music video and say he's going to kill this other guy in New York. It's called Retaliate. He's sitting there talking about killing somebody
Right.
on a music video.
Yep.
And these people actually fought. Do you see the police going up and arresting him? No. But if it's a Muslim that makes a rap video, just two lines.
When he's
Out of,
17 years old, probably, too. He was
and
17 at that.
17 years old, an adolescent, just 2 lines out of 25 to 30 lines. He might think it's cool. I was an adolescent. I thought that stupid stuff was cool. And I used to say worse. I said worse. And I did worse. But to put him in jail for 2 lines? That's why people are looking at America and saying this is a country of injustice. This country is not the country I knew before. It has changed for the worse. Because those little things I said, and those aren't even all of the Ziyad Yagi case. I have more. But at the same time, those little things are indications of hypocrisy. And when you have hypocrisy, people see it. They see it. They don't just look the other way. And when you tell them a car is blue and it's fully colored in red, they're going to say, damn, that's a nice blue Honda. The normal human's going to look at you. They're either going to say you're crazy, or to be polite, they're going to say, yeah, it's a nice car, and walk away and tell their friends, this guy is crazy. That's what the people of the world are doing to our country, America. They're silently telling others, this country is freaking nuts. Not Al-Qaeda. This country has killed millions of innocent people on behest of a group who number less than the Crips and Bloods in the state of California. I counted them. I counted it. And these people that we arrested, they're not guilty. They're not guilty. And if you look at it, I mean, it's just every contradiction. We declared 2 wars on 2 countries for the acts of just a group of men, with the majority of them coming from Saudi Arabia. But how in the hell we ended up in Afghanistan and Iraq, God only knows. That logic doesn't even make sense.
Exactly. And not only
It's
did
just-
they crucify, not only did they crucify those men, which they should have been crucified for. They did something wrong. But now, in this day, 12 years later, all Muslims around the world, as far as some Americans are concerned, and people around the world who ain't even Americans, feel that every Muslim that is to be held accountable for what those men did. And this is where, we as a people need to stand up, because it's wrong. It's wrong.
Well,
And
how can the people change when the government does it themselves.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I remember a civil rights activist once said, I think it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, uh, the law to prevent the law to prevent lynching may not make you stop hating me. The law on preventing the prevention of lynching may not make you stop hating me, but it will make sure you don't kill me. And that's what we need in America. Laws to protect Muslim American rights.
Yes, because right now it's the way it is. There is none, and in some cases it's creating more people to be curious about Islam, but it's also giving others who do research, and hear all this idiotic bullshit that people say about Islam and and Muslims, to create their own definition of what Islam and Muslims are. You know what I'm saying? And with that misinformation, wrong information, to help lynch, the whole religion and the people who follow it, you know, nobody wants to go further. I've had debates with different people, and Christian. I used to be a Christian, now I'm Muslim, and I tried to explain to them. They're asking me, well, why did you convert to being a Muslim? And when I explained to them, and they're, well, what about this in the Quran? The ones that get up there and try to show that you're just as much of a terrorist just because you're Muslim, um, who are giving 100% wrong information, you know, and this is where it needs to stop. And I will continue to say and add to this, the Muslims that are in the world need to stand up, not in a defensive way, but in a educational way, to let the people of the world know who and what we are. Staying silent, it is not going to help. Being angry and trying to go in and try to educate the world about our religion. I'm a new convert. And I can't. I try to learn as much as I can day by day, and may Allah help me with that. But this misinformation that's being given just to attack, and the addition to the people who create their own definition of the Quran, or even in any religion, even the Bible, you know, if you're that much afraid of Islam, then do your own research. Grab yourself a book. It's like any other book. Grab the book and read it. And what you read out of that book may not have the same meaning as what the next person may read out of that book. You know? And I don't know any more than what to say, other than people who criticize and are afraid and have let the governments and other religious leaders scare people, because there are some of them kind of leaders out there. I'm a Muslim. I will admit there are religious leaders out there who are just not right. They say they've got their own way they want to put out Islam, and they got their own way that they want to make Muslims look. They have their own way that they think Muslims should act. Yes, there's this, but there's also that in other religions too. The same kind of religious leaders do the same thing. We're in a time and in an age to where people have to be responsible for themselves and take responsibility for their own learning, to research. If it doesn't sound right and it doesn't feel right, guess what? It's probably not right. But at least research it. Take the time to know yourself. Don't take somebody else's word for it, because we're already doing that as a people. We have to end up doing that through our governments, because whatever our government says, some people takes that, and if they're loyal, if I'm a Democrat, okay, and I got a Democratic president, whatever he says, it to me is supposed to be right. Hell no. If he's wrong, he's wrong. You you see what I'm saying? So I don't know
I also wanted to mention something. If somebody researches the prison industrial project, this is where this is a way to bring slavery back in a sneaky way, okay, in a dirty, sneaky way to make these prisoners work for very, very low wages to serve these corporations. They keep on building new prisons. My son is right now in a private prison, and where they build these prisons, and they need to fill in these prisons with human beings that are going to be working for $1 or less a day to serve these giant corporations. This is a new way of slavery. And if people research that, research Coleman 2 in Florida, this is a private prison. And this is how they make their money off of, basically imprisoning people.
Exactly. And then charge them to be there.
Right,
You know.
exactly.
Now you're damned if you do, if and you're damned if you don't. You go through, and get judged, charged, sentenced, and
And
you get put into a prison to work for them. And then while you're in there, oh, all of a sudden, oh, well, you got a $8,000 bill, and anything and everything that your family tries to help you with, it goes towards that, and you don't get crap. You know what I'm saying? You have no
right,
commissary, you have nothing. And then you're like, well, where did this bill come from? You know?
they did find my son with an $8,000
Exact.
fine.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm trying to bring up. This is bullshit. I mean, how can you charge somebody to be in your prison? Screw your private prison. And they don't even give you what the reason is that you're being charged the $8,000 for? That is even more of a bullshit. I could go to McDonald's and at least get a receipt for my french fries. Where's the receipt? And where's the payment plan? What are you being charged this $8,000 for? You know?
Like Tammany Hall.
Exactly. You know? It's bullshit. And the more people don't bring things up, I mean, just yesterday, as I was telling you both earlier in a private conversation, you get people who say, well, it's all this negativity. You're always bringing up negativity. Do you have anything good to say? As long as there's this kind of thing going on that's negative, I didn't create this negativity. But as an activist, as a human being, as a woman who sees and is able to compare right from wrong without, being biased and taking, it's wrong, but I'm going to say it's right. And no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to sugarcoat shit and make everything look like it's okay when it's not. When there's some true good things, right things to say, positive things to say, then I'll be the first one in line because that's what I'm waiting for, you know. But until then, so much negativity, well, it's because there's negativity in the world. And unless we stand up together and say at least something all together to try to make it positive, we're going to still, it's just the negativity is going to get worse. Just like it has for years. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. There are problems within the world, the United States, the case that we are talking about today, both cases that are on each side of the world, but they're the same. They need to start being talked about. They need start paying attention to by everybody. If you're, and I'm speaking with my listeners, if you're out there and you're sitting at your coffee table right now and you're eating, drinking coffee, or you're surfing while you're listening, and at least you have that freedom to do so. Some people in the damn world don't have that freedom. And even when they get on their computer and they write a little something, they can be literally imprisoned for that. It's not correct and it's not right. But yet people steady, read it. Oh, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing, oh, that's sad. That's sad. Well, by somebody writing that's sad, or by somebody saying that's sad, it's not helping the situation and it's not resolving the problem. I can be sad all day long if I want to. But if I don't do something about it, then I'm going to stay sad. people have been saying it's sad so much they think it's normal. It's sad, and then that's supposed to be an acknowledgement that you're paying attention. Bullshit. Stand the hell up, start saying something, because literally, at some point in time, it's going to get so bad it's going to be right at your front damn door. And when it is, who the hell's going to say, oh, how are you going to feel when somebody looks you in the face and says, oh, well, that's sad, and then goes on their way and does nothing, says nothing other than that's sad. I've heard that sad is so many times it just irritates me. I just blow it out of my mind. There goes the normal reaction. So today's interview, we're gonna wrap it up here because it's been a long interview, and thank you both very much for being here this long today.
Thank you.
But for anybody who's listening out, take this, ignore it if you want to. But when it comes back at you with somebody else speaking on another show about this, or you see the same people you're listening to today onto a different show, and you get so tired of it, then maybe you will wake up and at least listen and say something other than it's just sad, because it's more than it's just sad. These are people's lives that are being affected.
You
And
know,
it may,
Sister Luna, what I suggest for a future show, Sister Luna, is you start grabbing some of the other people from the U.S., the other political prisoners. Maybe just start interviewing the family members as well. Maybe there'll be some similarities we all can see.
yes, and that would be a great idea. And I,
But I can say for the intelligence community, this is an issue, and I know some
are you both there?
intelligence here.
Okay.
Brother Siraj, you cut off for a second.
Hello?
Yes, now
Yeah.
you're back. Now you're back.
No, I've met people in the intelligence community. I know some of them, and I'm just saying this issue, like I said before, is a wall blocking peace. And this domestic issue, because we like to separate the domestic from the foreign always, is going to affect the foreign policy. I promise, I promise, I promise. This issue of Ziyad Yagi, if it's not resolved, it's going to blow up, and it's going to be someone's desk where the paperwork's going to land, and that pen is not going to save your ass.
Exactly.
Now we've got two mothers pleading for their son's freedom. Two sides of the Atlantic Ocean, and I think we need to take it higher. And I will reiterate, this case of Ziyad Yagi is not a domestic case. It has just become a foreign policy case. So I just remind the federal government and the intelligence community out there that this is a nasty conundrum and it's very volatile. It's not an explosive bomb, but it has the potential to make the domestic policies that you think are going okay shudder down like a domino and collapse right in front of you, and the only reply is, what the hell just happened? That young kid will get freedom, and none of us are leaving Sister Layla. None of us.
Nope.
Thank you,
That
God.
young kid will get freedom, I promise. Sister Layla, we all are behind you, and more people.
Yes.
Though we have disappointments, we are all behind you, and we are so ready. So ready. And in the future weeks ahead, I hope that God will give you happiness and show you a little light of hope from what you see and what you
Thank you.
witness.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
With that, I'm gonna give a closing, and then we're going to pop off of the live broadcast. And I want to thank everybody who's been here today, those that show themselves, and even those that do not. Um, I do want to stress out there that 2014 is coming, and Lunar Live Media Network is going to stress a lot more, try to get more people, just the regular people involved. We want to hear from you. We don't want to just speak to you. We want you to speak for yourself. And with that, I I want to say on all sides, if you do not agree, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you feel and why you feel that way. If you don't agree with what we're saying, then that's fine. You have that right, but we want to hear from you. What we're also going to do, and what I'm also going to start thinking about doing, is getting interviews with the opposition of the people that we're speaking about. If they have going publicly on their little mainstream media and their politically high little uh, blogs on the internet or whatever, we 110% invite them to come to the little people's section.
Why don't you
And
have a conversation with Yasmin Kass for the next broadcast? That seems pretty good. Yasmin Kass.
yeah, it-
Her
um,
father was put in jail for what, paintballing?
oh, really?
Apparently, paintballing is construed as a firearm, according to counter-terrorists.
Uh-huh.
She's a friend on my Facebook and Sister Layla's Facebook account, I think.
Okay, I will definitely do that because I
Why don't
know
we have her and Sister Layla come together? Maybe they can share some more stories.
that would be great. That would be great. I would be more than honored to do that kind of
So we've
interview.
got we've got people from Allah Hamid's campaign interested in that collaboration with Sister Layla. Oh, let's go to Yasmin Cast, and we'll just keep going and going, and I'll work on this side of the Atlantic Ocean, waving a white flag, and maybe do a Kurdish dance. Maybe somebody will take a notice.
Yes, well, and if we can't get any kind of people, then that simply shows our claim of people just ignoring. They can't say that they didn't know. It's just they're ignoring. I mean, that's all there is to it. We don't need a mainstream media. Anybody and everybody can get onto the internet and say, bring these things out. Now, do a lot of us put our well-being on the line to do it? Yes, we do. Some of us don't care. You know, um, it's not that we don't care. It's just it's that important that it has to be done. Somebody has to stand up. So we're gonna close for now. We're gonna bring more things coming to you. Keep an eye on our Facebook and the main website to see what's coming up. Holidays and stuff are coming, so I'm not live a lot, but in 2014 we are going to fix to where we have at least a couple of times a week that we are live on different subjects, not just this kind of subject, all different kinds of subjects within the U.S. and internationally. So we want to thank you for today, and we're going to cut this broadcast now. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.